Hello. Happy Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. I had to remember in my head. Today's topic, winning. What does that mean? I think, often when we think about winning, we think kind of in terms of sports. Like there's a score and there's a scoreboard and maybe some clear rules and, a defined measure of success based on these terms of the game. And also there's rules about what it means to cheat or what a foul is. And, it's pretty well defined. I mean, any ref would probably tell you that it's still subject to interpretation depending on where you're looking from, but that's a whole nother video and conversation. But I think that, when we think about life, like, do we really have that in life? Like, we have the law, but even the law can be reasoned with, or I would say manipulated. And I think too, what winning means is super individual. And what I've observed, but whether or not it's true or not, I've observed is that oftentimes we will find professions or places that we belong where the means of winning, the ways that you can win are aligned with our own core values and who we are as people. And I think, that's, just another way of finding belonging. But like when I think about that whole application for workplaces, and I shift my focus to workplaces, I also ask, like, what does it mean to win on a team in a workplace? I think that definition, it probably needs some better scope. Like when I'm not talking about touchy-feely things, when I'm not talking about, soft skills type of things in videos, one of the things I love to talk about are metrics. Metrics are great, and I will always advocate for them, but they truly do need to have counterbalances that are based in something opposite of the way that they are, so that you can make sure that they're true and that the gamification of them doesn't happen in a way that's manipulative, that doesn't end you up with the end result that you're looking for. And I think, they're very based in kind of results, but results can also be tricky. Like, you can easily use them to turn yourself against somebody else. And it's one thing to have like a playful metric where, I closed more tickets than you or whatever, as long as you have that kind of camaraderie and trust and vulnerability on a team. But sometimes winning can pit us against people, and that will destroy teamwork every single day of the week. And the reason why I say it destroys teamwork is because in that case, there will always be a winner and loser. And when you are the winner, you could tell yourself a story about how, I won because of A, B, and C, and that person didn't do that, and that's why. But it really could be something that's completely subjective. It could be based on the tickets you got that day, whatever the case may be. And if you're the person who loses, it can be, when you don't have the right mindset about it, it can be destructive. You could turn around and say, well, it's not fair, it was set up against me, and, that's its own rabbit hole to walk down. So I think that, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about, which is like considering beyond the end goal when we think about winning. Like, what does it actually mean to win? Is it just accomplishing that goal, or is it something else? And personally, I kind of think about winning in the framework of what does that journey look like, and what am I going to learn along the way? I think that's the how and what of my mindset. If I classify my goals simply by the end goal, then there's a lot of things that I could miss. And if I don't achieve that goal, am I a failure? Did I lose? I think that sets us up to not even want to try to begin with. I think it's really important to develop a healthy mindset about what winning means, because if we were to, use the terminology of winning and apply it to, okay, if I want to talk about the how is, I'm going to make sure that I show up as my best self during this time, and that if I don't achieve what I'm hoping for as my goal, that I will have won because I learned something along the way, and that I will do better next time with what I've learned, right? And I think that's kind of, to me, a more healthy way to approach it. So that win is found in knowledge gain. And I think, if you apply it to business, if you tried an experiment, if you had a hypothesis about what might work or a new product or whatever, and it didn't land the way that it should have, what, should you just close your business? No, you take that information, you go, what worked, what didn't work, and then you might change up the approach. You might, not approach that anymore. It's information gathering. As humans, we try and fail all the time and use that failure as information gathering. So why wouldn't we, keep that as the focus instead of, I'm going to for sure do this thing. You should celebrate if you win something. Don't get me wrong. But, if you don't get there, beating yourself up isn't going to help you succeed the next time. Taking a pause and going, what can I do to learn from this would be, so beneficial, I think, and helping to reframe things. It helps you visualize that goal, in a positive way. Because if we don't achieve something that we were hoping for or that we think that we've deserved, the person who did achieve it, it's very easy to make them, the villain or, the subject of scorn or remorse and say, well, they didn't deserve it as much as I did. And then your thought process and your mindset is focused in a very negative place, and it's focused away from things that are going to best serve you. I think, we kind of have to look at it as we're a team of life. When you see somebody else succeeding and they're succeeding by, positive means, then we should celebrate that. We should be happy for the people in our circles and for anybody succeeding, because it means that success is possible. Winning is possible. I think, there's a lot that I've seen over the years in teams where people get tunnel vision on completing a goal, winning an argument, maybe scoring the most in a competition. And they don't really pause to look around and ask themselves, like, hey, wait, did I cause any damage by being so narrowly focused on what it is? And I think, that makes so much impact on how people receive you. I've also seen teams and individuals and teams focus on the parameters and the ideology of fairness, because when they lost, they were looking to blame someone else for them falling short. I think, this is something that, when we're talking about teamwork, is just a really powerful thing to conceptualize and to try and build some resilience around in your teams. I will always almost go back to being a parent. My son has tried out for 4 years to be on the basketball team. And every year leading up to it, we have the same conversation. Go into it with preparation, practice, get some good sleep, make sure you're running drills, take care of your body, eat well, listen attentively when you're given instructions in the tryout. Take notes if you can. And 4 years in a row, he hasn't made it. And, I kind of get to pick him up off the floor, and he's full of stories of, the rules are changing and the odds are stacked against him. And, and every time I tell him, well, but are you proud of how you showed up? If you are, then you should be proud of that. That should be a great goal. Do you feel like you did better than last year? But also, what did you learn? And what can you bring to the table? Did you actually follow through on the preparation that we talked about? Being accountable to yourself. And I think shifting that mindset, message the coach, ask for feedback. Where can I do better? Instead of focusing on this person got it because of this, or, their politics over here, or this coach doesn't like me, or whatever. None of those things are going to be things that you can change if they're true. What are the parameters that you can change? What are things that you can do to learn from this situation to be able to make it better? That's life. I think you can focus on all the times that you don't win and let it make you feel terrible and drag you down. But what if you focused on what you learned? And then that would be a win in of itself. If you take away a piece of knowledge and you add it to your brain and your bank of things that you can pull from, whether you use them yourself or share them with somebody else, that is winning. That to me is winning. I don't really think you win an argument or a fight if you make the other person feel awful, if you tear them down and make them feel stupid, because they're not going to hear your point anyway. A lot of great athletes will say they're running the race or competition against themselves. And what they're really saying is that we can be strategic and know the competition, but ultimately we are in control of the results. We are in control of how we show up, and that is the only part that we can put effort into. So that's kind of how I approach learning and winning in general. I think that bringing my best self and trying to always work on that is the only thing that I can keep doing, and I would encourage you to do too.